Alright, hi! Thank you for tuning into Art in the Mornings again. I have a brand new, wonderful project. It took forever to put together. I was thinking about doing it with you guys through the YouTube channel at first, but I had started last night. I wanted to go through and do a mock one first. And that took me 5 hours. So I don't think that is a very reasonable thing to do for a YouTube video. So what I'm going to do instead is go over what I did do last night. What I did do is this is going to be a writing project based off of my character creations that I have on my WordPress blog, where I just do a small short story that highlights certain characteristics about a character that could be involved in a larger story like a novel or a longer type of short story. But this, what I want to do is incorporate the astrological signs, and I went through and I created a randomized full birth natal chart. And I did it using this good old thing here. So each of these signs was placed 1 through 12, starting with Aries, ending with Pisces, because that is the actual order of the astrological signs. I went on here and I typed in a lower. The lowest one is 1, the highest one is 12, and I hit enter. So the first one would be 11, which would have been Aquarius, and that would be for the first sign, which would be Sun. That one was Sagittarius, and so I put Sagittarius, which means the first time that I rolled on the random generator was for a 9. And I went through and I did that for all of the planets. The Sun, the Moon, the Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and the Lilith and the North Node signs. And then I went through and did the houses as well, and which Aquarius is this person's ascension. I did the 2nd, 3rd through the 12th houses. That's all I did. I didn't go any deeper with the oppositions of planets and all that. I don't really know exactly how I would randomly select that per se. But I am gonna go over this, and it's just some stuff that I pulled up off of the internet using. I want to make sure I give you guys my sources. These are a few of my sources. I went through Astrology Club, Cafe Astrology, Astro Arena 12, Dark Pixie Astrology, Astrology Zodiac, and so on. Mostly using Cafe Astrology. So whenever I rolled for the sun sign, we got Sagittarius. And so I went through on a Cafe Astrology Sagittarius sun sign. And I would just click on the Archer. And I went through and I picked some of the keywords that kind of go through with this Sagittarius outlook, and I put that in here. This person is restless, they're cheerful, friendly, very optimistic. They're not very great with routine. They can have a temper, but Sagittarius, they forgive and forget very easily. They're escapists. That means they can have that tendency towards drugs, alcohol, things that make you escape reality, books, anything like that. just based off the rest of the chart, I would go more with this person really goes towards books for their escapism, because I don't really see anything else in their chart that really leans towards this person being a drug addict or anything like that. Because of how optimistic and cheerful these people are, they are very easily forgiven by others. They have a very honest and direct approach to life. Next, I rolled for Moon, which ended up being Libra. This person absolutely needs a partner or they feel incomplete. They are sympathetic and concerned for others. They don't like to go places alone because they have a strong need for partnership. They are very charming, very flirtatious, very attractive. They can't help but see flaws in their environments and relationships, and they won't give up until it is fixed. When they are arguing with a partner, they will not let up until they win. They need that last say, they need that last word. They will keep going, they will say things that aren't even true just to get that last word in, even knowing that what they're saying isn't true. They have a tendency to make the people that they live with feel like they're on trial. Even if they are defending your point of view, you will still feel like you are on trial. They're always looking for the perfect way to live their life. That means they're often missing the good things happening right in front of them. Their Mercury sign. Mercury is the sign of how you speak to others, and that is in Cancer. So with Mercury in Cancer, you have a very thoughtful and emotional way of speaking to people. They can tend to be very slow to respond because they're listening and they're deep thinkers. They're, feeling out the conversation. They take a while to respond because they have to feel what you're saying. They need to know that what's coming out of them because it's coming from their heart, coming from how they feel about it. They learn things best when they're emotionally balanced. They pick up others' emotions in conversations. They're very empathic. At times, they can end up in conversation with people, and then they're picking up their opinions, and later they can look back on these conversations and be like, why did I do that? I completely don't have that opinion. I don't think that way, but talking to that person suddenly, I could definitely see where they were coming from. They have a very innate ability to completely step in another person's shoes. They avoid confrontation and arguments, but weirdly enough, they easily provoke them and others. They'll get upset at others for getting upset with them after they've provoked an issue. Because they're so feeling, they often do not like facts-only type conversations. They like to involve their emotions as well. With this sign, because this sign seems to me to be the only feeling sign, and with Mercury in Cancer, if that's the only sign that's there that's like that, feeling like that, it can be insincere. They can come off as a very feeling type of person, but because the rest of their sign doesn't seem to go towards that, I'd say they come off as a character that wants to seem thoughtful and emotional in their conversation with others, but actually on the inside, they're not. And we'll see why later. Venus. This is their relationships, how they relate to others, their personal love life and stuff to that nature. That's what Venus is. They try to impress with their kindness, even-handedness, and willingness to make things work. They have a polished manner, making them seem insincere, superficial. They're gentle, they hate being offended. They feel threatened by direct or abrasive expression of feelings. Their mate is attracted to their willingness to adjust their lives to fully accommodate them. Their relationships are often over-idealized. They become silently resentful. They felt being taken advantage of. This can lead to them being bullied around. Their manners and tactfulness are turn-ons for them. Foreplay would be a mental thing where they enjoy talking about the relationship. They will use charm rather than aggressiveness. They are willing to oblige their partners and quite willing to negotiate and compromise. They can gloss over deeper issues in the relationship due to their dependency issues. They would have a balanced classical environment with no gaudy, loud type of artwork. I would say with this in their chart with the moon in Libra and Venus on Libra, this is an extremely dependent person. They need to be in a relationship at all times, no matter what. They're pretty unwilling to not be in a relationship, even if that relationship is abusive, is manipulative, isn't exactly healthy. They need that because otherwise they feel completely unfulfilled, they feel empty without somebody else there. I'd say that's probably an issue that this character would need to work on with themselves. They'd probably end up in very unhealthy relationships with people, very abusive relationships, whether they're abusing or they're being abused. They definitely end up in unhealthy relationships. With Mars, we have that is in Scorpio. This person loves to challenge themselves to the impossible. They throw themselves into whatever they do with high willpower and energy. They have a tendency to exploit others because they can see right through them. They are cool and collected on the outside, but the inside is a different story. They are unlikely to let others in. They have the highest sexual stamina of the signs, and they are into all kinds of taboos. This is a very kinky character, apparently. They're into their partners doing absolutely anything for them. Their sexual appeal is so high they often do get exactly what they want. Life is all about making changes and taking on challenges. They constantly test themselves and others. They know that life isn't fair, and with self-loathing, they turn outward, often manipulating and abusing others. Again, this abusive type of behavior shows up again with Mars and Scorpio. They love taboos and sexual manners. I think that speaks for itself. They are cool and collected on the outside, but the inside is a different story. So, yeah, that kind of goes again with the, they don't exactly show people who they really are on the inside. I might be wrong, but we're just doing this based off of my random creative thoughts based on what I have written here. I'm not really gonna say this is all true astrology. Don't take this as that. This is just a writing project. But with this, we're gonna go with this is kind of mixed in with the Mercury Cancer, where they want to come off as being a thoughtful, emotional, feely type of person, but really not. And they're probably using that thoughtful, feely type of exterior to hide the more manipulative manner that they have. So, this is a very sexual character. They need relationships. They're probably using sex to gain these relationships in some way. Then moving on to Jupiter, which is in Gemini. This is an extremely smart person. They attract the most good fortune using their wit and ingenious. They're versatile, sociable, curious. They put others at ease with friendliness and sincere curiosity. They value intellect. They see opportunities to grow and succeed through intellectual, verbal, and written channels. They believe that intelligence and knowledge are the keys to solving problems. And that kind of really fits into a lot of their other signs later, too. This person's extremely smart. Like, they are probably a genius level smart, I'm gonna go with, because that shows up a lot where they're very intelligent people. They're a very intelligent person. Gemini does kind of deal with that, with they love to read, they love, intellectualness, really. So we're gonna move on with Saturn being in Scorpio. Issues may evolve, tying them financially to others or them having to take care of someone else financially. There is a shadow nature to this placement where whatever they deny or push away will actually stalk them. And I think that would be really, really great to use in the story with this character. They use sex and dependency to manipulate love from another, again with the manipulation, or will find that another is doing this to them. Their life lesson is that giving should be open-handed and not tied to what is received in return. This really plays a large part in what we would probably use this character's story surrounding. This would be a person who, for example, could probably be abusing a partner, trying to keep them tied to them because of their dependency issues by financial means. Meaning they probably have a boyfriend-girlfriend that they aren't letting work, that they pretty much use their power and prestige to keep them needing them. This person needs to keep their partner needing them at all times. And they need to learn in life that, when you're giving, it shouldn't be tied to that need, that dark nature that this person has to be always constantly using people for something, manipulation. Moving on to Uranus. Uranus is in Cancer. This is a slow-moving planet. Usually affects more of society as a whole as opposed to personality. So maybe we would take these three slower moving planets, and we would use those to kind of create the society at that time in our story. And so we would be taking Uranus and Cancer, Neptune and Taurus, and Pluto and Sagittarius to kind of create a societal aspect to the story. This is saying this is what's going on in the world around this character. So Uranus introduces new and exciting changes into domestic circumstances. This is sometimes at odds with the Cancerian need for security. Those born during this time with close aspects to Uranus may have some doubts about personal security. Some may express this energy by creating innovative homes for themselves or working as an architect. Brings about sudden changes in a home and family. So, Uranus was in Cancer back in the 50s, I want to say, when a lot of those big social changes were coming about, when women were being allowed to work suddenly and men were left to kind of feel like they were having their positions in the home taken away or threatened in some way. It brings about changes to do with home and family, so something in this society is really, really changing as far as how families run. Neptune in Taurus. When you dream in a refined manner about possessions, perhaps clues in particular, but also perhaps food. You aren't easy to get going, but once you are, you may find it difficult to stop dreaming about matters such as romance. When it comes to personal property, you might find it hard to be clear about what you want, Nonetheless, you are practical in your fantasy life and about what you dream. You have the ability to overcome obstacles related to personal finances and achieve more beyond the normal boundaries. So, with Neptune being in Taurus, it's a very dreamy type of thing. I'm gonna have to really think about how these three signs really kind of interconnect with each other to create a certain specific society, and I may have to go talk to you guys about that in another video as we're already hitting 20 minutes here. So I'm gonna move on to Pluto in Sagittarius. So, you transform in a free and tolerant manner matters related to higher education and philosophy, and in your vision of the future and your ideals. There may be significant changes in higher education at this time. There may also be transformations in your attitudes to freedom and tolerance. There may be greater long-distance travel during this period to foreign places, perhaps even space. This generation's obsessed with foreign travel and about life on other planets. Alright, so with this Pluto in Sagittarius, I could definitely play into that changes in higher education thing, because our character is very, very smart, very, very witty. But again, I will have to work on kind of connecting those three to create our society in this story. So with Lilith in Scorpio. Dedication or hell, there is no other choice. Dangers from the depths. These people must be immersed in dark depths. Oh man, this character is interesting. Lilith and Scorpio is associated with power and violence. It often suggests tendency to masochism and self-injury. These people exhibit strong, instinctive exuberance and wild sexuality, and on the contrary, absolute rejection of sexuality. Well, we already know that that's not going to be a thing, because other spots in their chart kind of point more to their wild sexuality. Their sexual strength gives them great mental fruitfulness and creativity, dedication, or hell. There is no other choice. The dark and secret side will be mercilessly exposed to light. Oh, that sounds interesting. So it seems like at some point in our story, we could definitely put an element of, like, this person's secrets or their manipulative side coming out into the open, which would be really, really interesting to see how our character reacts to that. I'd say this person's probably very sadistic, masochistic, one of the two. So, North Node into Pisces. I can't really remember what the South Node would be, but I only wrote the North Node for some reason. I'll have to look into that later. A tendency to worry unremittingly, to be plagued by vague, sometimes not so vague, feelings of guilt about underperforming, to lack faith and trust in a larger, more spiritual plan, and to overanalyze ourselves and others are some of the issues this position suggests. So this person's extremely hard on themselves about, like, their performance and whatever they're working on. With this position, we need to put faith in spiritual powers, let go of fears of not doing enough, love ourselves and others with more compassion and understanding. They need humbleness, feel safe and knowledge that they're not perfect. This is a very perfectionist person, which kind of goes in hand with the placements of Scorpio all throughout their chart as well. So, I'd say this character's probably going to go through some changes where they need to kind of learn by their secret side coming out into the spotlight in society, because this person, I think, is going to be somebody that is really a huge impact on the world. They're a humanitarian. They're doing something really important for the world, and at some point their dark side comes out and gets just splashed all over society, I'd say. So through that exposure of their dark side, I would say this character is going to go through a lot of changes in humility, in learning how to treat people, and where they lay wrong. This character is definitely going to go through a lot of different things, but as this video has kind of hit 25 minutes, I am going to have to break this up into 2 different parts, the going over of the houses and the going over of the planets, as this is already at 25 minutes. So I will see you guys again at part 2 when we go over the, first through 12th houses and where those are at in this character's chart as well. Thank you for tuning in. Again, this is Art in the Mornings, and you guys have a lovely day, okay? Bye-bye.